thank you so much for keeping it K24. We do appreciate your company every weekday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on K24. If you just tuned in, well, karibu sana. My name is Shiko Kaitani, and this is another edition of Health and Wellness. Now, 6th October was marked as World Cerebral Palsy Day. The theme to move as one as we go on to create real change for people living with cerebral palsy. Now, we do know that CP is an umbrella term for a group of disorders affecting body movement, balance, and posture. In fact, it is loosely translated as meaning brain paralysis. And so today we go on to talk about how to manage CP, how do we care for those who do have it, and how can we even avoid it altogether. I'm going to start off by welcoming our very special guest here today with us. Naima Musimi is a 7-year-old girl with CP. She is here on the set. She is currently seated with Henry Opondo, who is the chief physiotherapist at Karen Hospital. Our friends from Karen Hospital are back, and her beautiful mommy, Sonny K. Musimi, an entrepreneur, makeup artist, and digital content developer, is here with us today. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank
All
you
right,
so
and of course, please say hi to Naima for me. Shake her hand.
Welcome to K24.
Hello, baby. Okay, so Naima's caregiver, Rhoda, is actually here with us in studio. So at any one point, Naima will be allowed to leave our set. But of course, feel free. And of course, a big welcome to Rhoda. She's actually seated backstage. Let me start off with you, Sonny K, because this, by the way, is such a touching story. Just even looking at your social media platform, seeing how you've grown over the years with your baby girl. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Naima's story.
Naima is my firstborn daughter.
Yeah.
And when she was born, let me start back from her pregnancy, my pregnancy.
Yeah.
She did not display any abnormalities. The pregnancy was very smooth.
Yeah.
And all the scans that I went for were, you know, indicated that she's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Until her birth, where everything changed. So during her birth, there was a lot of medical negligence.
Yeah.
And that led to prolonged labor.
Yeah.
And because of that, she lacked oxygen to her brain, therefore causing some brain damage.
Wow.
After that, it was a lot of, there was a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
And we were admitted at Gertrude's Hospital.
Yeah.
For around 1.5 months or so. And there was a lot of uncertainty as to what to expect you know, with her life moving forward. So we pretty much got her diagnosis like more or less immediately, like 2 months into it. And yeah, so it's been a crazy journey, but
yeah. How has it really changed your life, and what were you feeling at that moment when you actually told your child has been diagnosed with CP?
Wow. Being my firstborn child, I had a completely different picture to what my motherhood experience would be.
Yeah.
And I like using the analogy that someone once used. It's like planning for a vacation to go to, say, Bali.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden when you're at the airport, someone tells you, oh no, you're not going to Bali. Yeah. You have to go to Morocco or somewhere else. Yeah. So it's not that you don't want to go on that journey. Yeah. It's just that the expectations are completely different. Right. But once you embark on it, there's so many gems that you'll find in your new journey, challenges that you will go through and you'll overcome that will make you even a better person. It's true. Yeah, so...
Yeah, were you in shock? Did you cry? I mean, what did you do? Were you furious?
I cried a lot when she was in hospital. Yeah. Because we were just getting messages of doom from, you know, the healthcare practitioners. Yeah. So I really didn't know if she was going to be around for long. In fact, at some point we were told even if she survives, she's bound to be a vegetable. Yeah. And I really hated that term, but you know, that's what is used. Right. Yeah, so it was just a matter of taking it a day at a time and hoping and praying for the best.
Yeah, and well done,
she's
Mama.
beaten all the odds and here she is.
7 years, that is not easy. Henry, let me rope you in. And you know what, I'm so you know, fascinated as to how you're so at ease with Naima. Like the minute you met her, you just picked her up, took her from her mama and you've been sitting with her and you're like, no, I'm comfortable, I'm good with her. So are there any definite causes of CP? Because it's kind of like a gray area when it comes to cerebral palsy.
Yeah, thank you, Shiko, for inviting us to this show. And Nalima is my best friend.
Yes.
Yeah, we work closely with children who have cerebral palsy. So to us, they're human beings.
Right.
We live with them, they need our help, and we bond so well with them.
Yeah.
So talk about cerebral palsy, the causes. Ideally, there's no specific cause to what we call brain injury that can cause cerebral palsy. However, there are issues that can arise to that brain damage. And we can look it into 3 different categories. The first part is when still a fetus, when mom is still expecting this baby. There could be infection. Infection during the pregnancy. That can affect the formation or the development of the brain. Okay? There could be also issues to do with the genetic commutation. There are few cases that come as a result of just the gene mutation, bringing some abnormality in the development of a baby while they're still in the womb.
Right.
The second part is during birth.
Right.
Yeah. So during birth, what normally happens when mom experiences a difficult, prolonged labor. At that point, the child might get insufficient oxygenation to the brain. And that can also lead to brain injury or brain damage. The latter part is now after the child is born. We are looking at below 5 years. That's now what we can call acquired cerebral palsy. The other 2 I've talked about are congenital, because the child is born with it. The acquired one is whereby, for example, a child sustains injury. Maybe they fall down, or something hit their head and causes maybe a blood clot in the brain. And that limits oxygenation or blood flow to the brain. That can lead to brain injury. Other things which we normally see after the child is born below 5 years is bacterial meningitis. That can also cause brain damage if not addressed on time.
Sonny, do you feel at some point, or at least when Naima had arrived, that you wish you knew this prior to your birth or her birth? Because had you known before, you probably would have been prepared sufficiently. Or do you even think, and sorry to even ask this, you would have been able to go on with that pregnancy?
To be honest, because I had no idea about what even cerebral palsy was, I think it is best that it happened the way it happened, that I had no idea about it, and therefore I wasn't going to make a decision that is out of what God designed my life to be. So I don't know if I would have, I mean, the journey is really taxing, and it can be treacherous. So I don't know if I knew prior to giving birth, if I would have continued with the pregnancy. Those are unknowns that I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
Doc, or at least let me say, Henry, at this particular point, for those who aren't too sure in terms of the conditions or the signs and the symptoms, if I can call it that, of someone with CP, what do you commonly see? Like, for example, if we're looking at Naima, what is common about CP patients?
In relation to symptoms, what is common is normally what we call motor activity, the ability to initiate movement.
Is hindered, right?
Is hindered. For example, you find that, and across the board, most of them, they are unable to play with both hands simultaneously or uniformly. The hands doesn't move uniformly. They are unable to roll on bed. Most of them are children, you leave them on the bed in that certain position, you're certain you'll find them in that position. Another thing is, they rarely make, you see, that the cooing, the normal sound children make when they're playing, also that one is limiting. Yes. So those are some of the basics signs that we can see in a child as an growing age.
But even from as a newborn, is it able to be picked up as soon as immediately at birth? Or you have to wait?
Well, you don't have to wait, but there are clinical signs that the clinicians should be able to gain, to give them insight that probably this can indicate certain problem with brain injury. Not so easy to diagnose at birth unless it's obvious that the child missed oxygenation for this period of time. But there are certain signs that the clinician, a pediatrician, is able to see a baby and tell you, we need to monitor this baby. All right. So as always, we do appreciate your feedback and your contribution to our ongoing discussions. Today we're actually talking about cerebral palsy and asking, how do we go about improving the care for people living with CP? How do we even avoid it altogether so that we can see those numbers going down? If you also even have a word of encouragement this morning for little Naima, who's on set with us, please go ahead, share it with us if you've been touched. Remember those numbers at the bottom of your screen if you prefer to get in touch with us through our social media platforms at K24 TV on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Sonny, what is Naima's weekly routine like? I can imagine, because you said it's a handful and this is your first. You have another, you have a toddler at home. So how are you juggling this? What do you have to do in specific to Naima's, you know, needs? To be specific. So
basically Naima is fully dependent on us, the family, and the caregiver. So we've sort of been able to work around together as a team in the house. There's no tasks designed for one person. We all work together to just make our lives easier. Basically, we do everything for her, from waking up in the morning. She has her meal, her breakfast, which is mostly porridge. So we try to give her many fluids because she still has challenges with swallowing her food.
So ideally, basically all her meals,
they have to be in liquid form.
So she's on fluids.
Yes, she's on fluids mostly. And then right after that, she has a bath. And then we try to do some little physiotherapy based on the home program that the therapist has designed for her. And so it's a lot of positioning in the house, right positioning, using her equipment, her AFOs to make sure her feet are well aligned, and just feeding, because feeding takes a lot of time. So we try to break down her feeds, minimal feeds but often.
And how long on average is one feed?
A feed can go up to minimum an hour. And very small portion. So it also builds character of patience.
It's true, doesn't it? It does. And equally, even the caregiver has to be equally as patient.
Exactly.
When you talk about therapy for cerebral palsy patients, Henry, what are we talking about? Trying to stimulate motor skills, or you know, what would you categorize it as?
The overall goal of therapy is to promote functional independence. The ability of the baby to be able to participate in activities of daily living, like even crawling on their own, walking on their own, playing on their own, feeding on their own. That is the overall goal for therapy. But we need to get it clear that for you to achieve that, you need a broad speciality, not only physiotherapy, not only medication. It's a broad field that incorporates a different kind of speciality in the medical profession. So again, that's a good question. So the strategies we use depends on the what the child is unable to get. So motor skills is also broad. We have the big movement. We call them gross motor. Big movement is the ability, like for us to sit here. We are using the gross motor scale. There's what we call fine motor. Fine motor is the ability of this child to use the fingers.
Yes,
okay?
to grasp things,
Maybe the body is itchy, they can scratch themselves.
Yeah,
okay? Maybe they don't want an element in their mouth, they can remove it.
Yes.
That is fine motor.
Okay.
Another one of key concern is what we call oromotor, the ability to use the tongue.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
You hear Naima is on flutes.
Yes.
Flute food.
Yeah.
Meaning the solid, she can still not able to swallow or to chew.
Yeah.
That's what we call oromotor. So we need all those specialists to be able to assist.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So there's all like difference, a different department for each. Okay.
Exactly.
So would you say that she's reached some milestones in regards to the therapy so far?
She has
because I can see she can lift her arm.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, like when she was born, there's so much that she hadn't achieved.
Yeah.
And even though the therapy has taken so long to see like probably one progress, we've learned to celebrate anything, no matter how small it is.
Right.
And initially she would always clench her fists 24/7, like to the point where she would even get some blisters. So you always had to keep wiping because, you know, it accumulates sweat.
Yeah.
So I remember we were so happy when she was finally able to unclench one of her hands.
Oh, nice.
And even things like learning how to eat with a spoon, like take the fluids with a spoon. Yeah. Because initially we used to use a syringe, you know, just to be able to control the flow of the food.
Right.
Yeah, so there's so many things. Even her neck is slowly starting to gain control.
Right, yeah, I can see
like
that.
I said earlier, there's a lot of patience that is required in this journey. And yeah, you can just hope for the best.
Okay. Henry, for even those mothers who don't have access to this kind of information, let's say even in the village, our rural areas, a lot of them would actually just assume, by the way, this child is not going to make it. Talk to us a little bit about life expectancy of someone living or a baby born with CP. Can they make it to adulthood, and what are the chances, or what kind of life are they going to live if they get to adulthood?
Thank you, Shiko.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think there's also still a lot of we don't have awareness in the local community, and there's also misconception. Many people in the rurals, in the community, think cerebral palsy is not a medical diagnosis. That if you give birth to a child with the cerebral palsy, probably you did something wrong, or it is a cultural problem, something like that. CP is a medical condition.
Right.
Okay? So when we talk of CP, we look at the bigger picture. There are different categories. Okay? And in simple language, you can say there's mild cerebral palsy, there's moderate cerebral palsy, and there's severe cerebral palsy. Okay? Mild cerebral palsy, they'll need some moderate form of interventions, treatments, therapies, to be able to achieve functional activity. And they can lead a normal life. They can lead full life just as the other child without cerebral palsy. Okay? Moderate to severe, they tend to have certain medical conditions accompanied with them. Okay? So this is normally what brings certain problems in their daily life. Okay? Other things that might affect is probably issue with feeding. We've had severe cerebral palsy whereby when they feed, they get reflux. So these are the problems that accompany the child during their livelihood that affect their growing to full potential.
All right.
Yes.
So even as you continue to talk to us a little bit about that, I'm going to ask Rhoda, Naima's caregiver, to actually pick her up. You know, just to give her a break. If she just needs to feed, if she just needs to relax, she can actually do that. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Asante sana, Rhoda. So yes, so you were saying about if they do get to adulthood, yes, is it full dependency?
Not full dependency. They'll still need some additional support. Because you don't expect, what we don't expect is to get 100% motor control, like you and I. But they are productive in the society. They get skills. Actually, they do well with learning of skills. You get some become even a musician. Okay?
I've seen even
artists.
Yes. Actually,
so
yes, in the arts.
When identified early, given early intervention, they become productive in the society.
Your thoughts? The other day, there was an expose that actually involved people living with, especially children living with cerebral palsy. I'm going to get your thoughts in that in just a second. I understand we've got a caller on the line. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, Chico. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Karibu sana.
My name is Linda Kagai from Vihiga County.
Yes.
I also have a child, my firstborn daughter with cerebral palsy. She's now 14 years.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes. And I'd just like to thank K24 this morning because you are really highlighting something that is very sensitive in our society. You know, we live in a very ignorant society whereby when people see you walking with this child, they think maybe you are cast, you are an outcast in the society.
Right.
And maybe they don't want to get near you.
Oh, is that the case? Have you faced that personally when you're with your daughter?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, she's now 14 years, and you know, you just need to take care of her like she's a newborn baby. You have to feed her, bathe her, do everything for her, you know.
Yeah.
And it is, actually, it is very hard to find a good caregiver whom you can trust.
Yes.
So you'll find a lot of moms,
Yeah.
You have to not to go to work and sit at home, just take care of your daughter, and it is very disheartening.
Right.
And you'll find many people, especially when you walk in the slums around, like in Nairobi, there are a lot of women who have children with cerebral palsy, and it's very unfortunate that their fathers run away. When they discover that the kid has CP, they run away.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and congratulations. I must congratulate you for making it 14 years. 14 years. Well done, Mama.
Not a joke, Chico.
Well done. Well done.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Keep watching. Asante sana for that. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, Karibu.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
So I have seen you have a good idea of sensitizing people on the issue of cerebral palsy.
Yes.
Because I have seen in many cases of this challenge, and this challenge,
yeah,
it's not something which is permanent.
Right.
Because if you go to pregnant mothers, you advise them on the strict on what they're supposed to do. I think they can be able to avoid this condition.
Okay. Okay.
But for example, when you look most cases,
yeah,
they are caused by late labor.
Yeah.
With late labor, and then we have mothers who take alcohol when they are pregnant. That is malnutrition.
Okay. Okay.
But you strictly go to the clinics of mothers who are pregnant.
Yes.
Give them advice. I think we can be able to eradicate this cerebral palsy because it's a challenge. It is damage to the brain.
Yeah.
And the damage to the brain, sometimes it is permanent.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that.
Yes?
Thank you for that, Jonathan. Asante sana for that. Okay, so we've had Linda actually talking about her child, 14 years old. Jonathan also talking about advice needs to be given to more mothers out there, expectant mothers. Sonny, I'm going to get your thoughts in just a second, but let's take a short commercial break, even just to allow some of that feedback to keep coming through our social media platforms. And of course, if you want to call in regards to the discussion that we currently have, why don't you? Would love to hear your voice. If you want to actually ask a question in regards to cerebral palsy, well, Henry Opondo is actually here from Karen Hospital. And of course, Sonny K. Musimi, mother to the lovely Naima, who are in studio here, also telling